Citizens, what's up? It's President Awall, and I'm bringing you daily Star Wars Force Arena content. Thank you to everybody who's been encouraging me in the comments. Keep going, daily videos. This one is top tips for new Galactic Empire players. I still get a lot of comments on my channel and on the Star Wars Force Arena subreddit and within their guild saying that Empire is not powerful enough. Empire needs to be buffed. Rebels are just too strong. And this video, I want to give new Galactic Empire players, folks that are fans of these Galactic Empire heroes, you know, the Boba Fett's of the world, the Emperor Palpatines of the world, even Grand Moff Tarkins, which I love Grand Moff Tarkin, etc. I want you guys to know my top tips as to how you can play Galactic Empire and be successful. I'm going to take this particular Empire deck to the ladder to demo some of these concepts for you, and I'll kind of come back to my deck and back to this screen to give you tips in between games. But basically, tip number one, don't listen to what other people say about Galactic Empire. It is a different playstyle than Rebel, it is a more counter-oriented playstyle than Rebel, and it is more difficult to learn. However, once you learn it, you will crush, and you will be able to design your decks to directly counter what you're seeing out there on the Rebel side. And that's the advantage that Empire has. Generally speaking, Rebel has a lot of cards that are generally good, really nice mob potential, lots of variety of tanks, etc. But Empire has a lot of hard counters in its arsenal that are super effective. Case in point, things like Probe Droid for taking out waves of units, including Sand Trooper, which is amazing at area of effect damage. Bladesmen do incredible damage per second for a 3 cost. They do 280 to 290 damage per second. It's totally insane. And there's a number of other tools at your disposal. So tip number one, don't listen to the hype. Tip number two, select at least one vehicle when you're playing Galactic Empire. Either select the MTV-7 light vehicle or select AT-ST Walker. I personally recommend for new players to do MTV-7 light vehicle because it can help you defend, it can attack everything that's out there, and you don't have to have a perfect setup and a perfect execution on attacking a turret like you do on an AT-ST Walker, which in my opinion is more difficult to pull off successfully than it is just to use this light vehicle and just to generally counter the enemy and to defend and counter push. Let me just take some of this straight into the ladder, and the reason why I'm wanting to do this tips for Galactic Empire players video is because I was playing Rebel only. I basically lost 600 or so rating points like I told you in recent videos, and I was down to like 2600. Then I switched over to Empire, I picked up Dengar, and I have been just learning Empire through and through. I'm getting closer to a healthy 50-50 mix of Rebel and Galactic Empire, and I have skyrocketed by a total of 800 rating points since I switched to Empire. And the only trouble that I've actually been running into are these Lando decks, like this one I'm running into right now, which should be pretty interesting. And these Lando decks, which you'll see on the top of the ladder right now, Empire players, is going to be this really mob-oriented deck. He's going to send tons of low-cost units down the kind of pipeline here, down the lane, to maximize that early game damage. He's just going to suicide here, and he ends up doing a lot of damage to my structure. And now I've got a decent counter push, but he'll be back soon. So what you have to do is you have to maximize your damage to the turret while this is going on. And my counter damage to that turret was minimal, nowhere near what it needed to be. And these decks are really difficult to counter, I'll be honest. And that early game push is going to be rough. It's going to be super rough. So what I'm going to do is drop a Sand Trooper, anticipating that he's going to drop Mob on me, which I'm sure we'll see Mob. And there's a Grenadier, which means I need to go ahead and back up. And these Lando decks just apply non-stop pressure. And what you have to do is just try to defend, hang in there, don't give up, just keep stunning his Lando. His Lando is going to keep dying. And eventually, his death timer will become so intense because he's died so many times that you'll be able to make a late game push happen. Don't let this deck discourage you, Empire players. You can do it. You can make it. And, you know, you're going to go down early. But one of the good things about Dengar is that he has a built-in comeback mechanic. He has increased damage when you're down on turrets, which can really help you out. I really hope I don't lose this game, of course, but it happens sometimes, and especially when there's a Lando around, this early game pressure is really intense. An ATST here, by the way, wouldn't have helped at all for me to win this game. I'm going to stun this Lando. I'm going to drop these Bladesmen down, and hopefully we'll be able to push out. Now he's died 3 times. So this is just going to mean that this death timer of his is going to get longer and longer and longer. And what we're going to do is we're going to counter this push one more time. And then what we can do is probably push back out into his base. That's the objective here. So here we go. Going to drop Probe Droid here, which should explode all over them. And then what we're going to do is drop Forlom. Oh no, I dropped Forlom on the wrong side. He's going to walk down the wrong lane. Oh, I really needed him for this continued push in order to make this happen. Damn, that sucks. But looks like Lando is down for a relatively long timer. And what we'll do is stun him, and try to buy time. Oh, I almost used my grenade there. Oh, if I had been able to use my grenade, I would have taken that tower down. That is totally shameful. And what we're going to do is try to drop the Sand Trooper here. He's got the tank. I'm going to try to drop Stormtroopers, but he's really clogging up that passageway there with a tower. And unfortunately, we're going to lose that one against Lando. And by the way, that deck that you just saw us go up against as Empire is the #1 deck on the ladder right now. Almost so many of the top players are using this exact deck and are being really successful at it. And it's just throwing mob after mob after mob after mob down the lane at you. Don't get discouraged. It's okay. As you saw in that game, I almost took his turret down and almost came back. See, this is it. The #1 player in the world is using this deck right now. And the #1 player's name is Portgas or whatever. And this is it. So everybody sees this deck and they use it. It's all about speed early game. Actually, the opponent we were just up against had a variant of this deck, but it's a speed early game, throwing tons and tons of units down the lane. It's okay. And as an Empire player, you just have to realize, okay, what do I have in my arsenal that's a counter for this that I can come back with? And though that deck is so incredibly strong, I've got Probe Droid, which Empire players tip. This is the best card in the Empire arsenal to slow the enemy down and to get them to stop pursuing you down the lane in a cost-effective manner. Drop that Probe Droid. Try to drop it in the middle of the pack if you can, and when it explodes, that explosive damage is massive and will take out most low HP units, and kind of mid HP range HP units will be about 20 to 30% health left. So incredibly effective at slowing down a push so you can build your energy back up and you can continue to defend. The other area of effect option I was telling you about, Sand Trooper, the best area of effect damage available in the Empire set for the price, essentially. 224 damage per shot, decent range. It explodes people. And between those two options, as well as the grenade here on Dengar, I've got a lot of area of effect options to deal with my opponents. And when you're, another tip for Empire players, whenever you're thinking about going up against Rebel, just count on 100% of the decks that you go up against, including an MLC3 light tank. And this unit has over 2,000 health, depending on what level it is. And so you need really good single target damage in order to take it down. So in order to account for that, I do have Bladesmen in my deck, and I have Stormtroopers in my deck. And I also have 4 LOM, or 4 LOM, in my deck, each of which does significant single target damage that can allow me to quickly take down those light tanks. And I've chosen MTV7 light vehicle, which also does really nice single target damage, which can also counter that light tank. You're going to see it in 100% of Rebel decks. Count on it. No matter what, I think it's non-optional. You need to put Bladesmen in your Empire deck, Empire players, new Empire players. Put Bladesmen in there, and whenever their tank gets close, assuming that there's not a Grenadier right behind it or something that does area of effect damage, drop those bladesmen right on top of the tank, and it'll actually be difficult for the enemy to target them because they're so small and the edges of the tank model kind of edge out on either side, and it's going to be difficult for them to actually click on your bladesmen to take them out unless they have an area of effect damage card or an area of effect damage unit on the ground to be able to deal with you. So keep that in mind. Those bladesmen are great. Some of you mentioned that the heavy Imperial gunners, or heavy Imperial gunners, that's the name of it, right? Heavy gunners, are one of the best counters to MLC3 light tank. I agree. They are an amazing counter to MLC3 light tank, but they cost 5 energy cost. Those Imperial gunners do a preposterous amount of damage. They do over 600 damage per second. Those are amazing. They take down a light tank in like a second. But you know, they only have about 250 health, which means that they can quickly be cleared out with an area of effect ability. In one throw of the grenade, they can be taken out, etc. They're too vulnerable for that really, really high cost. I think that Imperial Gunners personally should be reworked for that reason. They're too vulnerable, and that's why they're not in a lot of decks. And that's why Polar Bear with a minigun on the Rebel side is more common than you'll see something like Imperial Gunners. Okay, we're up against Cassie in this game, which is one of the heroes that new players very, very typically complain about. They say that he is completely overpowered or whatever. I can tell you from experience he's not at all. And watch this, I'm going to take out all of his mob. And these, oh, it looks like they dropped a Chewie. And I don't know, I've got a decent little push going here in the top lane. I'm going to drop my Bladesman, see what I can do, and apply a little pressure here. This is a little surprise pressure for him, and I don't think he was anticipating this. I'm going to grenade him. Actually, not going to grenade him, going to stun grenade him, rather. And enemy is now pushing up this lane. They'll probably end up taking out most of what I have here, which is perfect for Probe Droid. I don't really need to worry about that lane that much right now. I can go pick up health, and notice the probe exploded there, and it did amazing things for us. Okay, trying to apply my Bladesman. There we go. And the Bladesman forced Cassian back, and as you can see, despite Cassian's large range, Empire players, do not be scared of him. It's okay. Like, yes, you don't want to just let him just shoot you in the face, of course. But you can deal with him. If you have the right counters, right units to counter his units that he's throwing at you, you're fine. You're going to be totally fine. It doesn't matter if he has that extra range. It's not overpowered, trust me. So I'm going to go ahead and use my grenade and clear out a lot of what he just threw at me. And it looks like he's looking to do a pretty aggressive push here. So Probe Droid will do a pretty nice job of clearing out the majority of this. There it is. And yeah, we're back to square one. So it's kind of 1v1, bro. That's what's up. And I'm hoping that he'll push in a little bit. Gonna drop Forlom. Gonna drop the stun grenade. Got him. And Forlom picked it up. That's what Forlom does. He is a total boss. Oh, I love Forlom. He's so good at killing heroes. He's so fun, man. That taser is so freaking fun. It's just a blast to use that taser and just to take heroes out. Generally, they're not expecting it, which is really fun. And I'll go ahead and drop Probe here on the back line. And Probe should take most of them out. Gonna stun Cassian, gonna drop Forlom just to make sure I get the kill in case I didn't have it already. And I think this is a situation I think where we can push in. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna drop down another light vehicle. He's gonna focus me, and unfortunately with all these melee units that he has up front here, he's gonna end up taking down both of my light vehicles. I would have been better advised to drop down this Sand Trooper on the back line right out the gate, but I didn't. It's okay though. Probe Droid is going to handle the majority of this push, and as you can see, I've got lots and lots of counters for Cassian, and I'm hoping that I can pick up a W here. This is going to be an unedited video, but I'm hoping that you can kind of see the tactics that I'm using. I don't like running, this is another tip for Galactic Empire players, I don't like running decks that don't have stun grenade in them. Just straight up. I don't at all. I feel like I need stun grenade, and he looks like he's probably going to try an FTW push here. So let's see if we can push this out. And this is going to be a tough one. I don't know. If I can't get a pick on this Cassian, there it is. There's the pick. and that's why you grab Forlom, that's why you grab stun grenades. That's how we do, and I don't care if he's pressuring that bottom lane. First to next tower wins. There it is. There's the victory. So Cassian's not overpowered. He was nerfed in the recent patch, but his range was reduced. I believe his damage was reduced as well, and he is balanced at this point. And yes, he is difficult to go up against, but notice what I was doing that game up against Cassian. I was not pushing too far out. I was not putting myself a lot in range of Cassian to be able to focus me down and to be able to get those random pot shots off on me. And so he wasn't able to be as effective as he wanted to be. He was just kind of sitting back, just shooting regular units all the time. Alright, here's another tip for Empire players. Anytime you get cards for Empire or for Rebel, upgrade. Whether you're going to play Galactic Empire or Rebel or not. You don't know what you're going to want to play down the road. You don't know what decks you're going to want to do. And you're going to want to go ahead and do all of the missions that are available. And those missions require both Rebel and Empire units or victories or certain stats or certain accomplishments from either side. Just upgrade every freaking card that comes in, whether it's Rebel, whether it's Empire, whether you're going to be focusing primarily on Empire or not. Maybe down the road you can do some trades to move some of your Rebel cards over to Empire, but I recommend using everything, at least until you get to level 10 where I'm at, which is kind of the baseline of where you need to be in order to reach Kyber, in my opinion. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about some of the card theory here, and these are just tips for new players, guys. I've got lots of videos where I cover way more in-depth tactics on specific decks. But let's talk about what are the staples that need to be in almost every Galactic Empire deck. I mentioned the stun grenade. I think you should put it in damn near every Empire deck right now, especially when there are Luke Skywalkers that are going to come charging at you nonstop. He's got high health, he can do high damage, he's got high movement speed. If you have a stun grenade, you can deal with Luke Skywalkers very effectively. I also think Probe Droid is necessary in every Empire deck to deal with all of those low-cost units that Rebel has. I'm talking about Marauders, I'm talking about Rebel Troopers, I'm also talking about Twi'leks, for example. This even covers Rebel Pathfinders. Probe Droid can deal with all of those and can stop them, can explode and take them out. I also think that Bladesmen, like I mentioned earlier, entirely necessary in every Empire deck. So much damage. They have almost 400 health a pop, so they can handle like an X-Wing strike and stay alive. They're so incredible. And then one of each either vehicle type, whether that's AT-ST or MTV-7 light vehicle. Those are kind of the necessary core cards that you want to put in every deck. If you want really, really solid options that are going to perform for you very, very regularly. Okay, Sand Trooper is a solid option to put in almost every deck. Stormtroopers, solid option to put in every deck. It's probably not a mistake. Maybe you can make a better choice, but it's probably not a mistake to put Stormtroopers in any Empire deck. And a couple other cards that are very reliable and very popular amongst Galactic Empire, the top players, and also from myself. Stormtrooper, Rocket Troopers is a bit more difficult to use, but if you can mix that up between lanes, and you can also use it to counter MLC3 light vehicle, really nice card that you can throw in there. I'd say it's secondary. I'd say it's second tier in terms of the cards that you're going to want to be using in the Empire side. And then Dioxis Grenade, I'd say, is kind of on par with a card like TIE Fighter. If you feel that you really need some more area of effect damage, go ahead and pick either Dioxis Grenade or TIE Fighter up to give you that supplementary area of effect damage that you want. Personally, I prefer to leave those out of my deck because I've got Sand Trooper and because I've got Probe Droid. That's my preference. You've got a static option as well as a ranged option to be able to deal that area of effect damage that you need, and they're both relatively low cost. It's pretty sufficient, in my opinion. Now, in my case, I am using Dengar, which does have an area of effect skill associated with him, so that does skew my perspective with this particular deck. But if you look at the majority of Empire leaders, they almost all have an area of effect skill. Agent Callus has one, Grand Moff Tarkin has one, Emperor Palpatine has one, Grand Inquisitor, as he moves forward, it does area of effect damage. Boba Fett's got area of effect damage. They all have AoE damage. The only one that doesn't really is the Electronet from Bosk, which, if anything's coming at you, you just net it, it doesn't move forward, and then you just shoot it to death. So there's tons of area of effect damage options outside of TIE Fighter and Dioxis Grenade. Keep that in mind. You probably only need 2 area of effect cards in your main set. Sand Trooper and Probe Droid are my preference. I'm going to give you one more game here to kind of demo Empire side and to talk a little bit more about tips, but I hope that this is helping you. You know, these are the tips that these are the things that I've learned recently that have helped me to kind of propel up the ladder. I was stuck. I was unable to get past 3200. And then once I started thinking about Empire as nothing but a counter to Rebel, not I'm going to create a deck, and I think I've mentioned this before in other videos, but I'm going to create a deck where there's synergies within the deck, and you know, this card plays really well with this card on my deck, and this other card plays really well with this other card on my deck, and because I have cards that synergize with each other, I'm going to win. And I was thinking that way for a long time about Empire, and I realized that's wrong. It just is the wrong way to think about Empire. The way you have to think about Empire is, I'm seeing such and such card on the Rebel side. I'm going to pick the hard counter to that on Empire side. For example, if you're seeing lots of Ben Kenobis coming out with Luke Skywalkers who are converting your high-cost units over to their side, great. You're losing your MTV-7 light vehicles nonstop. Stop using MTV-7 light vehicle. Don't think, if I synergize the light vehicle with stun grenade and I stun Ben Kenobi quickly and I kill him, I can still use the light vehicle. Just stop. Just counter the enemy. Counter what the enemy is doing. Be reactive to what the enemy is doing and what you're seeing regularly, and you will be more successful than thinking about how you can optimize your deck and get your cards to work better with each other. Trust me on that. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference. Alright, cool. I think I've made my point there. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. So this grenade here is in the game. I'm going to drop Sand Trooper here. I think he's going to take out these Pathfinders, but they're going to end up pushing in probably here early game. So what I'm going to do is drop Probe. I'm going to drop my my Bladesman, and notice how they just rip that tank up, and this Gonk Droid is definitely not getting in my base. So I'm going to go ahead and heal up and come on back. And it looks, whoa, looks like they dropped down this pod here. A huge 5-cost investment is that pod. And I've tested the pod myself, and it didn't really work. Basically, it didn't really work the way I wanted it to, so I stopped using the pod. So here we go, getting torn up by this Wookiee here. And it looks, hopefully, yeah, it's still, the light vehicle, sorry, I got a little confused there. The light vehicle was still focusing the structure, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. And notice how Probe Droid just stops the momentum of what's happening and just gives you a moment to breathe. And it's really, really nice how it does that. And now we've got these Pathfinders here. Now we've got these Stormtroopers. Oops, come on, what's happening? I'm clicking this Gonk Droid. Wow, that was weird. I was clicking the Gonk Droid there and nothing was happening. But I'm just going to keep rolling this light vehicle down the lane and see what happens. I'm going to chuck my grenade around, going to blow things up, and this is going to be a very strong push for the enemy here. So what I'm going to do is drop down Forlom. Going to drop down Probe Droid to stop the push. Notice how I keep doing this. Probe Droid to stop the push, and focusing the tank. Probe Droid just stopped the progress of their cards. That's all you want Probe Droid to do. Just slow the enemy down and stop their progress. So what I'm going to do is use my grenade here, drop down light vehicle, and I'm just continuing to effectively defend against this enemy. And this Gonk Droid is going to be interesting. I'm going to stun right at, damn it. I was hoping to stun in time and it didn't work. That's a shame. Probe Droid it is. And Forlom, I'm going to throw him over here on the side. He does that beautiful single target damage. And this is kind of a stalemate. I mean, we'll see if anybody makes any huge mistakes here, but so far it's looking pretty even. And, oh wow, He's just going ham on my tower. No, no. Got him. Yes. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 Bladesman, go. We're going all in on this tower. We're going all in. And I'm going to stun Cassian. Stun. Got it. At the buzzer. That was close. That was really, really close. GG. That's why I used MTV7 light vehicle. If I had used ATST that game, he would have taken down my ATST really, really frequently and taken me out. And Dragon Ball Gods has taken a loss. GG to this guy. So those are my tips for Galactic Empire players that I've learned recently. I could go more basic than this. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to go more basic, or you want me to talk about specific cards more in depth. I am doing card reviews on the channel. I just did one on ATST. Let me know. But those are the things that are coming to mind that I've learned very, very recently that have helped me accelerate a significant amount up the ladder. Thank you so much for watching. I'm bringing daily strategy and tips videos to you for Star Wars Force Arena. Click my avatar above to subscribe. And thank you to everyone who's a part of my notification squad. Turn on notifications to actually guarantee you're going to see my videos. Otherwise, you probably won't. Click those other videos if you want to see more strategy stuff from me. My name's Awall. Thanks for watching. Adios.